Hey guys, my name's Sam Crawford, and for my special topics assignment, I decided to research herbicide usage in agriculture. So, what is a herbicide? Herbicides are generally organic chemicals that are used in the agriculture industry in order to control unwanted vegetation. Herbicides are very effective in weed management and come in different varieties. Some are selective, meaning they only take effect on targeted plants, while non-selective herbicides such as glyphosate are able to kill most types of vegetation. The widespread use of chemical pesticides and insecticides boomed following World War II when a large number of the factories that were originally producing wartime chemicals began mass producing DDT. DDT is an organic insecticide which paved the way for the future of chemical use in agriculture, and it finally gave the farmers the ability to effectively manage insects that were destroying crop sections year after year. This allowed for a drastic increase in crop yields. For example, corn yields in the United States have more than quadrupled since about the 1950s, around the time of development of DDT. So how do herbicides work? Some of the most common herbicides used today, for example glyphosate, is engineered in order to inhibit targeted vegetation's ability to produce amino acids, while other types of herbicides target different natural processes, like photosynthesis, which damages the plant ability to grow, making for effective weed management. To ensure wanted vegetation is unaffected, crops such as corn, soybeans, canola, and cotton are genetically modified to be resistant to the effects of herbicides, while treated plants without genetic modification are eliminated. Usage in the agriculture industry. About 280 million pounds of glyphosate, otherwise known as Roundup, is sprayed on an average of 298 million acres of cropland in the United States. Roughly, the average cost of glyphosate is $1 to $13 per acre of treated land, which is incorporated in an estimated $6.6 billion spent on herbicides each year by U.S. growers. Negative effects of herbicide usage. Runoff from farms contains high concentrations of potentially harmful herbicidal chemicals such as atrazine, which mixes with groundwater and potentially contaminates freshwater drinking sources, causing toxicity for wildlife and local ecosystems. According to research done by the EPA, atrazine has been detected in up to 22% of the observed water supplies in Pennsylvania. Some potential health effects related to exposure to atrazine include heart, lung, and kidney congestion, and long-term exposure may cause cardiovascular damage and mammary tumors. Despite being a suspected carcinogen for years, glyphosate has recently been deemed by the EPA as generally safe for human use. Some sustainable alternatives to herbicidal weed management are practices such as crop rotation, which is planting different crops on the same soil annually to increase soil diversity, as well as by planting cover crops, which suppresses weed growth due to the lack of sunlight reaching undesired vegetation. And these are just some examples I found in Organic Farms by Nancy Creamer and Denise Finney. Targeted spraying is the direct application of herbicides to unwanted vegetation, which allows for the use of non-selective chemicals such as glyphosate. Otherwise known as spot spraying, these methods allow for farmers to only use chemicals in areas where treatment is needed rather than broad spraying methods, which require enough solution to cover entire crop fields, which is generally about 10 to 20 gallons per acre. Some farms around the world have begun utilizing weed detecting technologies in order to locate and treat crop sections for weeds. They claim these advanced systems are able to reduce overall herbicide usage by over 80%, in turn drastically reducing weed control costs for farmers spent on herbicides. Weed It sprayers offer spot spraying systems which use embedded cameras and sprayer booms which identify and apply treatment as needed to targeted areas, and these systems are also able to be retrofitted to pre-owned spraying equipment. Since being released in Australia in 2009, over 20,000 spot spraying sensors have been sold by Weed It in Australia, Europe, and more recently the USA. With the Weed It system, farmers simply drive equipped tractors across crop fields, while cameras scan the ground surface at a rate of 40,000 times per second, and sets of 5 individual nozzles cover each 1 meter section of ground. Cameras are able to recognize natural plant chemicals called chlorophyll, which responds to red light and emits infrared light back to camera sensors where the data is analyzed and sprayers react accordingly. John Deere has also begun developing a similar weed detecting technology they call See and Spray. This is important for the future of autonomous weed management and similar computerized agricultural systems, as I believe that interest from US-based companies will dramatically increase the popularity of spot spraying opposed to broad spraying methods, which can be wasteful in terms of unneeded herbicide usage. As the agricultural industry continues to incorporate more and more technology in farming operations, my hope is that the end goal remains to be a more sustainable type of farming which focuses on efficiency rather than production. And I believe that weed detecting technologies similar to Weed It and John Deere See and Spray are a great start in reducing herbicide usage for an overall more sustainable food system.